Okay, here we go, we're recording. And so I'm just going to start with a little bit about me, and I'm going to share my screen now. And so if you could let me know whether you can see that. Yeah, okay, great, fab. So actually, I can't see the chat box whilst I'm in here either. So that is, I may have to check that in a little while when I come back off from share screen, just so that you know I won't be seeing the chat box right now. Okay, so a little bit about me. So firstly, I suppose I'm a mum and wife. I've got two gorgeous boys who keep me very much on my toes and very busy. They are aged 5 and 7. And then when I have the time, which now I have, like they're both at full-time school, so I'm able to really invest more time into my business, Laura Flynn Fly, which is not only a business to me, it's also a passion project and something. It's my other baby, I guess, in a sense. So, you know, as we all know, I'm sure juggling that, you know, having that work-life balance between like work and kids and general life can be, you know, hard to manage at times. So, you know, really I'm doing my, you know, my best, as we all do, to manage growing this business and being a mum and all the rest of the things that come with it. And what I do in my business is I'm an inner transformation mentor, and I help guide you back home to your truth, using spiritual companioning to help you to access your own divine inner wisdom and to let go, to heal your relationship with yourself and let go of the limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging patterns and behaviours so that you can find your wings and fly. I facilitate inner transformation journeys using mindfulness, EFT tapping, chakra dance, crystal healing. I offer private and group sessions and online programs. And within all of this, I use the life cycle of the butterfly and the chakra system, which I'm going to talk to you about today, as a map and guidance system for your inner transformation journey. And in my own life, I've started to really use the chakra system as this guidance system as well, because it really does represent every single area of our life on a very holistic level. So we're looking at you know, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual and energetic aspects of our lives are all wrapped up in the chakra system. So once we get an understanding of that, we can really start to use that as a map and a guidance system for ourselves. So I want to share a bit about that with you today, and hopefully get you as excited about chakras as I am. And just a little bit about my logo as well, and why my name is Laura Flynn Fly. So the butterfly in my logo it's first and foremost a tribute to my sister Victoria, who she passed away when I was in my early childhood, and she's always there guiding and supporting me, and quite often she visits me as a butterfly. So that's what the logo is first and foremost a tribute to. I also have a strong affinity with flying creatures as well, and so kind of fly came into the equation, and that's part of that. My own journey has been to find my own wings and liberate myself from all of the, you know, the crap that has held me back in the past, to be able to find my wings and fly. And that's what I feel is my purpose, I guess, is to help others to do the same. And the fly part of Laura Flynn Fly, which you might notice as well, flies in my surname. So it's, you know, great. So fly also stands for first love yourself. And that is really crucial in the whole healing part of the journey is, you know, in order to be truly free, you've got to first love yourself. So that's what that stands for. And I'm just going to show you as well, so you've got a visual kind of idea. This is my inner transformation journey wheel, and I've kind of created this as a concept to be able to get an idea of the journey, and it ties in together where the arrows are on the outside. That's the life cycle of the butterfly, and then on the inside of the wheel you've got each of the chakras, and that's the pathway. And so really what we're doing is we're coming into the chrysalis and we're undergoing metamorphosis, which is the healing part of the journey, where we're working through all the blockages and the barriers and the things that are holding us back. And we come out of out of the chrysalis, and we emerge out at the heart chakra, which is where it's the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So we're kind of emerging out, having found our wings, and then that's where we can start to really connect to our truth, our vision, and move more into that flow and alignment state of being. And of course, you know, like life is a journey, not a destination, and we're not always kind of going upwards on that trajectory, upwards and flying forever and flying high. Sadly, it would be wonderful if we were, but you know, we come back and we hit those upper limits, and we hit our limiting beliefs again, and those things that come up to hold us back again, and where we start to feel trapped. And then it's about coming back into the chrysalis again and moving through those things and using the tools and resources before we can come back out and go through that flow and alignment state again. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea of all of that. And I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a moment. Okay. I don't think there's, I'll just check to see whether, okay, there's nothing in the chat box. I don't think anyone else is waiting to come in. So all good, okay. So if anyone has any questions about that or wants to say something, just put it in the chat box. I'm just gonna move on to a little bit about my personal story. And why I've ended up getting so passionate about energy and the chakra system. So really it started kind of with, for as long as I can remember, I've been pretty passionate about well-being. And as a child, I suffered a lot of eczema and digestive issues. And I think it started to lead me to question the Western medical model at quite a young age, where I've always asked questions and I've always been curious, and I would kind of get this blank look when I would ask at the doctors, well, you know, why is my eczema flaring up? Because sometimes I would have perfect skin and then sometimes it would get really bad, and I didn't really understand it, and I wanted to know what the root cause was. And I remember this particular doctor, I think I was in my late teens or something. I remember him just saying to me, well, you know, why are you asking? Just stick this steroid cream on because that will make it go away. And to me, that didn't make any sense. And it was just band-aiding the symptoms. And I knew that I had to get to the root cause of what was causing it. And so I started this journey of self-discovery, which was, you know, like going down these different paths and avenues of looking at different alternative and natural health models. And what I found worked for me initially was focusing very much on diet and lifestyle. I found that I had a lot of food intolerances, and there was things like candida and different things that when there's somebody waiting in the, oh, there we go. So I had, this candida and stuff and a lot of food intolerances that when I changed my diet and took out a lot of the sugars and processed foods and various things, I found that my skin cleared up and my digestion improved. So I was like, wow, this is the answer. It's all about diet and lifestyle. And that's what my focus was on for quite some time. But then you see, occasionally my skin would flare up and I was still eating really well and I couldn't quite understand why. And it was when my husband, who back then was, you know, we hadn't been together very long, and I met him here in Perth. I've been in Perth now for 12-ish years, just over. And in the early days, we'd go back to the UK to visit my family. And I would, of course, go completely off the wagon with my diet and lifestyle habits and choices whilst I was back there, and be drinking heaps of wine and, you know, catching up with everyone and eating cheese and God knows what and everything else. And Bert pointed out to me that that my skin was actually better whilst I was over there than it was at any other time, and that I wasn't eating great. And so I was like, no, don't, you know, don't tell me otherwise. I know what's going on here. And I didn't want to accept, because he pointed out this is very much emotional stress related. When you're stressed, then your issues flare up. It doesn't matter how well you're eating. And I didn't want to accept that at first, because I had created this identity around being a calm, chilled person. And I didn't want to think of myself as not being chilled and easygoing and laid back. I didn't like to think that I was stressed out, which is really interesting. It goes to show how little I really knew myself, because I was probably like one of those ducks, you know, that looks like super chilled on the surface, and then under the water they're going like this. So I've got like all this like tension going on the inside. And I was totally in denial, because I did not want to accept that that was the way things were. So eventually I came to accept that this was the case. And then I moved more down this path of exploring emotional stress management and mindset tools. And I've done a lot of different, studied and learned different modalities and things like that. So I became an NLP practitioner, and I've done timeline therapy and hypnotherapy and all sorts of things that were kind of more going down that road, looking into kinesiology and things. And gradually, as I went down that path, I came across energy. Well, I didn't know anything about energy. Nobody had taught me about that, and I didn't grow up in that kind of family that believed in any of that kind of stuff. So at first, I was kind of like, well, what's all this energy stuff? But I found I was very much drawn to it at the same time and fascinated. And as I started to explore the world of energy healing, I started to notice that with an energy healing session, for example, that I would feel like I'd shifted and released some blockages, or I felt different. And even though there was nothing really hugely that tangible or that the logical mind can explain, I just knew that this stuff was working. And I also realized, and I think it was around the time that my boys, when I first had my eldest son, so 7 years ago, Arlo's 7, I realized that as well, a lot about how we are totally impacts, obviously, our parenting and things like that. So I'd got this ideal like kind of view of how I wanted to be as a parent. And I realized very quickly, as I had Arlo, that my ideal way of parenting and the way I was actually parenting were not in alignment at all. And that the reason for that was because of the way I was parented. And of course, that was coming out in the way I was parenting him due to triggers and reactions and associations and all of those things. So very, very early on in the piece, I knew that in order to become the parent that I wanted to be, and the role model I wanted to be to him and to obviously to Henry that followed, was that I needed to work on myself and to heal my shit to be able to then be the, you know, the parent, the person I wanted to be. And so that also kind of sparked off this, you know, like interest in and, you know, going down to the root source and realizing that energy is everything, that we take on all of our belief systems and the stories and the patterns and everything, all of our behaviors are tied to our own childhood experiences. And that when we go back to the source and we clear those at a subconscious level, then we free ourselves from that. And it's not just about clearing them, it is really a freedom as well. It's like they can be holding us back and keeping us trapped without us even knowing it, because our subconscious mind, it runs 95% of the show. We can be going around life not even realizing that we have certain patterns and behaviors unless we start to get mindful and start to notice and become aware of them. Then we're empowered to have that choice to choose a different way. And so I guess that was my thing, and that's why I'm so so passionate about the chakra system because it covers every aspect, and we hold all of that stuff, our patterns, beliefs, behaviors, and everything we hold, particularly in our lower chakras. And I'll go into a little bit of information about that now because, yeah, actually I'll stop there and then we'll go into that because otherwise it might get confusing. So what we're going to do in this masterclass is just, I'll give you a very brief overview of the chakra system. And then I'm going to talk about the pathways because each of the chakras, we've got 7 main chakras and they're interconnected. And there's 2 different pathways. So you've got a pathway which works from going up from the bottom chakra, they're aligned up the spine. So we can work up through them from the base up to the crown, or we can work from the crown going down. And these are 2 different pathways. One's the pathway of liberation, which is very much what I work with in my work, which is freeing ourselves of all the crap that holds us back. And the other one, starting at the crown, is where we go to when we're wanting to manifest, you know, ideas and visions and stuff like that. So I'll talk a little bit about that, why we always need to start with the path of liberation first. And then I'm going to talk to you a bit about the psychology of the chakras, because that's what really fascinates me. The developmental stage. So each chakra develops at a particular stage of our life. And depending on what's happening in our lives at that time, that shapes how well these chakras develop and whether they develop strong or whether they're prone to being weak and blocked and imbalanced. And it's very dependent on our experiences in life at the time they're developing. And they kind of define who we become in a way. And that's where, once we know what area of life and what each chakra is related to, how we can kind of tie that back to like, this was going on in my life at that time, and this is kind of why I'm the way I am in this particular energy center, and maybe that needs to have a little bit of work, or help to open it up and strengthen it. So that's what I'm going to do, is talk you through all of that. I'll move on to slide 2 now, which is has anyone got any questions before? Are we all good? Okay. Right, share screen again. Okay, so I want to go into, there we go, my slides. Here we go. So slide 2, chakra system overview. I'm just going to have a drink. Okay, so this is a very brief overview. So the chakra system, so this is our energy system that stems from ancient Hindu yogic tradition. So it goes way, way back. We all have many, many different energy centers or chakras, but there's 7 main chakras that we have that you may well have heard about already. And these lie along the spinal cord in the colors of the rainbow. So each chakra has a specific color and it vibrates to that frequency. Now, the chakras sum up the whole of human experience. And, they're responsible, I was saying, they're responsible for every area of our life. They're responsible for the quality of our physical bodies, for our feelings and emotions, our creativity, our mind, our ability to take inspired action, our ability to love, and our spirituality. So they really do encompass the whole of human experience. And when the chakras are strong, open, and balanced, they bring us vibrancy, passion, joy, confidence, worthiness, empowerment, inner peace, and freedom. So all these things, these beautiful things and qualities that we want in our lives. And they also represent the 7 levels of human consciousness. So each one of the chakras is responsible for powering a different level of consciousness. I'll just move on to the next slide. So here, the chakras are in the colors of the rainbow. And starting, so what was I saying? Yeah, so the chakras, so they are a map of the whole of human consciousness. So as I was saying, they represent every area of our life, with each one having a unique level of consciousness, and each one develops at a specific age. So I've got on this slide the age and stage that the chakras develop. So they each develop at a specific time period in our life, which begins in the womb, and each one represents an area of our life. Now, once we've got an understanding of how the chakras develop and which areas of our life they represent, we can begin to address life through the lens of the chakras. And then they become like portals between the inner and outer worlds, like a guide and a map that can help you navigate your way through life. So they're really, the chakra system's a template and profound formula for bringing us back to wholeness. And it's a way to achieve the full potential of who we are. So you've got, starting at the base or the root chakra, I call it the base chakra. You can either or, you'll hear them termed either or. They're actually pronounced chakra as well, not chakra, but I don't know, I've got used to calling them chakra. We tend to, I think, in the Western world. So, but they are actually pronounced chakra. So the base chakra represents safety and security. It's how we feel supported in this world and our sense of belonging and worthiness to be here. It's located at the base of the spine, at the perineum, and the element it's connected to is earth. And so, which kind of makes sense when you look at, when we feel safe, supported, grounded, anchored, it's very much like the earth that supports us and holds us. And physically, it's connected to the nervous system. So how the nervous system gets wired at this stage of our life in infancy and pre-birth, even in womb. And also it's connected to the legs, feet, lower back, the bones, which is the structure of our body, because it's very much connected to our physical body, the large intestine and teeth. So if you notice any symptoms, physical symptoms arising in these areas, it can be a sign that's linking back to an imbalance in this particular chakra. And the developmental age of the chakra is womb, from womb. It actually can go back to a grandmother as well, because the eggs develop inside of us. Hang on, how am I going to explain this? So they develop inside of us when we're a fetus in our mother's womb. So actually we kind of can trace that back to, energetically back to our grandmothers, because we are present as eggs inside of our mother, inside of our grandmother. So so with that, so the developmental stage, so it's all about when we were babies, meeting whether our needs were met, our basic needs of survival, trust, survival and safety. And that means whether we were held frequently, frequent touch, holding, carrying, nurturing, attending, whether our physical needs were attended to in a loving way, that connection and bonding at that first level. And then we've got the sacral chakra, which is the color orange and represents creativity, passion, desire, joy, and sensuality. And this chakra is concerned with our emotions and feelings as well. It's located just below the belly button, just below the navel. And the element it's connected to is water. So here with water, think of, flow. Physically it's connected to the sex organs, the womb, kidney, bladder, circulatory system, hips and pelvis. So that area around the location, plus, with the kidney and the bladder and the circulatory system, it's all where, we've got the fluids in our body moving and circulating around our body. So we're really thinking flow. We want the energy to be flowing. And this is as well with our emotions and feelings. We don't want to be holding onto and suppressing our emotions and feelings, which is what a lot of us have had that tendency to do, is to be taught as children that it's not okay to feel anything other than happy. And so therefore, we have that tendency to kind of hide away when we're feeling anything other than that, or think that it's bad or we're bad, and then we suppress and hold on to it. And that can get stored as blocked energy then in, you know, in and around these areas. And that's why a lot of us hold stress and tension in the hips as well. Yeah, and then the developmental stage is 6 to 18 months. And at this age, this is when we're beginning to explore the external world through our senses. We're not just, you know, like little babies who are crying out for our needs to be met. We're starting to explore through movement and learning our emotional language and communicating our needs via different feelings and forms of expression. So how then that we are, I guess, how well our caregivers respond to those new kind of our expressions of emotional language, how we're responded to and how our needs are met in that form tends to impact how this chakra develops as well, and whether we're encouraged to go exploring our world, and you know, that our emotions and needs and feelings are met, you know, in the way that we need them to be met, I guess, whether we have an emotional connection with our caregivers, whether they were available to be emotionally there for us. That all impacts how this chakra develops as well. And then moving on to the solar plexus chakra. So this one is yellow, and it represents self-esteem and willpower, and the courage and confidence that we have to take inspired action in our lives. So it's located just below the sternum, so in the soft squidgy part just below the, you know, the rib cage in the middle there. And the element it's connected to is fire. So thinking, you know, with fire, thinking fiery transformation. And physically, it's connected to the digestive system. So we need that internal digestive fire to be burning strongly to be able to break down and process our foods, for example. We need an internal fire to be stoked to be able to have the courage and confidence to take action when we need to. We need to have that energy moving strongly through us. It's our power center. And it's also, sorry, physically as well, it's connected to the pancreas and our muscles. So developmentally, 18 months to 3 years roughly is where our solar plexus chakra is developing. And this is where the ego identity begins to form. So where you've got, you know, the base chakra is more about the physical body, the sacral chakra is more about, you know, like emotions and feelings and exploring that world. Here in the solar plexus, we're developing this ego identity where we're beginning to really display our independence and our sense of autonomy. And we want to feel, you know, that in order to feel a sense of self-esteem and that we're capable, we need at this stage to have encouragement from our parents and to be allowed to have that independence, and to be able to say no and what, you know, choose what we want to do and that kind of thing. And so encouragement here helps to foster confidence in ourselves. And if we were reprimanded at this age for growing our own will, you know, and not just doing exactly as we were told, you know, so if we're reprimanded for showing this growing will, autonomy and independence, then it has this tendency to create shame, a lack of self-worth and a lack of self-esteem, which we hold with us through life. And it's very disempowering. So if we feel we haven't got a strong power center and that we lack self-worth and self-esteem and we don't feel strong in our sense of our capabilities and we lack confidence and all of that, that's develop from this early age, and then our childhood experiences and how we're told, you know, how we start to begin to feel and view ourselves in this sense really does impact, you know, if we have like goals and visions later on, how we're able to take action and bring those into our reality. So for, you know, for me, for example, this is a really big one, and where I hold a lot of, I've had to do a lot of work because I've very much grown up with the story of not being capable of achieving, and that I had this wonderful story. I'll just share this because it's like, oh my God. So, you know, and I've taken it, you know, that story on, but my dad used to pretty much tell me that I should find a rich man to look after myself. I'll look after me. So, you know, like, what does that tell me? That I'm not capable to go out and do anything myself. And I totally fully took on this story that I wasn't capable, and it's held me back for a long time. Obviously not anymore because I'm now doing this, but I had to do a lot of work to build that confidence and courage, and yeah, so we'll start to notice that there's certain areas when you know, something resonates with, oh wow, this happened in my, of course, this is why I'm like this, because this happens earlier on. It just helps to give an understanding and an awareness to why some of the, you know, some of the things show up for us, and why we behave in certain ways. So moving on to the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is the color green. There's also, it can be associated with pink as well. I very much, I feel like my superpower, if you want to call it, is love, and is my heart and healing. So I feel like when I'm in that unconditional love, and I'm really tapping into that that love of the heart, that I actually see a vivid kind of pinky color, and I feel like that's my higher heart and the healing aspect. So some people do associate with the color pink as well when it comes to the heart, but mostly we see it in, you know, in the form of the rainbow with the color green, and it represents wisdom, love, and compassion, and the quality of our relationships as well. It's located in the center of the chest, at the heart center. The element it's connected to is air. So when you think of air, you know, think breath and lightness and wings and flying. We kind of, you know, it's physically, it's connected to the lungs as well, that where we take our breath, and it's connected to the thymus glands and the heart and the arms and the hands. We tend to hold a lot of grief in the heart as well. So deep breathing into our hearts when we're experiencing that is really powerful. And the developmental stage for the heart chakra is 4 to 7 years. And at this age, this is where we're beginning to learn social roles by identification and imitation. So, for example, you know, if our parents were often angry with us, for example, then we would learn to internalize that and create a meaning around that as being a part of ourselves. You know, it would teach us then to be angry both in our relationships with ourselves and with others. You know, if we experienced a lot of criticism rather than encouragement, then we would internalize that criticism, and then that leads to becoming critical of ourselves and also of others. And so, you know, the more judgmental we are of others, we're actually, you know, it's just reflecting how judgmental we are of ourselves as well, and those expectations that we place on ourselves. And if you start to notice and become aware of your thoughts, it's actually quite interesting how often we can be very judgmental and harsh on ourselves. And that does tend to come from that background of how, you know, how we were criticized by our caregivers, or, you know, in the education system, or whatever, but in society. So, and also relationships as well. We're at this age, we're really being role modeled how relationships look as well. So if our parents were constantly fighting and didn't manage, or in our families we weren't resolving conflict in a healthy manner, that's kind of what we take on as well, and it impacts the quality of our relationships later on in life. So the throat chakra, moving on to the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is blue, and it represents communication and authentic self-expression. It's located at the throat. And this is quite interesting here. It's like the bottleneck of the whole system. You know, it's the narrowest part, and a lot of us hold a lot of blockage in the throat and feel that we're unable to communicate honestly and authentically and express ourselves freely. I'm just going to share that something with you about my throat chakra, because I felt often that I was, when I voiced my opinions as a child, I was kind of not really validated, shall we say. And this isn't to, you know, say my parents were terrible. I think a lot of us experience that, but it was very much that children should be seen and not heard. And, you know, like when I had something to say, it might be, I remember my mum laughing at me and stuff like that. And when you start to think, oh gosh, what I have to say doesn't really matter, and then you hold it all in. So I actually have had this thing where I couldn't burp. I find this quite amazing. So I could not burp, and I remember like at school, and all, you know, I got friends who were burping the alphabet and stuff like that. And I was really jealous because I wanted to be able to do it too. And when I started working with energy and clearing and shifting blocks, and I actually started to notice that I started to burp. Now I burp like a trooper. It's amazing. Like, it's like, seriously, I had this blockage. I was holding this blockage in my throat, and I just could not, that energy was just not moving through there. And so it just, yeah, that is, I suppose, a tangible thing for me that goes to show that when you start to shift and release energy, you know, it's shown up for me in that way. I can now actually physically burp. So where did I get to? Yeah, so the element that the throat chakra is connected to is sound. It's located at the throat. So the element is sound. So think vibration. So it's lighter. We're moving into the more spiritual realms here. The heart is kind of like the bridge between the lower and upper chakras, where the lower chakras are more our physical existence, and the upper chakras, you know, throat up are more that spiritual realm. So it's lighter energy, it's more subtle, it's to do with vibration. So, you know, sometimes we even use the word vibe. We pick up a certain vibe of someone, and we either vibe with them or we don't like their vibe. So it's that kind of, you know, how we pick up vibes from others, and also places, like energetically, how we feel about a place, whether it feels good or not. And that's all that that lighter sound energy element. So physically, it's connected to the thyroid gland, to the neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. There's an incredible amount of people that have thyroid issues as well, and I truly believe that this comes back to blockages and imbalances in the throat chakra. I think a lot of us hold them there. The developmental stage of the throat chakra is 7 to 12 years. So, you know, if there's a child around, you know, like that we didn't feel, like I mentioned, I didn't feel heard or validated when communicating, particularly with my parents, you know, if we didn't feel heard or validated, then we'd learn that we do not matter, learn to hide away or mask those parts of ourselves that we didn't feel were accepted. So we might start to wear these layers of, putting on these layers of who we feel we should be, or how we want to be perceived, because we've been led to believe that there's parts of ourselves that aren't loved or accepted. And what we really want is to feel loved and to feel heard and seen and validated. So we start to create that, yeah, like to fit in, I suppose, and to belong. We start to create those masks, and then we can kind of forget who we truly are when we do that. So then the third eye chakra, moving on to the third eye chakra, so it's the color indigo, and this chakra represents intuition, imagination, and the identification of our purpose goals and dreams. It's located between the eyebrows. The element is light, so it's connected to how we perceive and see both our inner and external worlds. And physically, it's connected to the pineal glands and the eyes. The developmental stage of the third eye chakra is adolescence. So this is at the stage of life where we're starting to grow into our own individuality outside of the confines of our family and upbringing. If we're supported and encouraged in the direction that we're going and where we want to go, then we have an easier time finding ourselves and the vision for the life we choose to live. When we experience a lot of resistance about who we are, where we're going and what we want to be, then that can kind of block that, I suppose, and we can change our past. The typical scenario is, the child that wants to be an actor, for example, and is told by their parents, no, they've got to do a sensible job and they've got to become successful and it's got to be the doctor, lawyer type thingy. And they don't do that, they feel like they've failed. And that's, I suppose, your typical kind of example of that. So, and then the crown chakra is violet, moving on to the crown, violet or white, and represents unity, higher consciousness and spirituality. And the crown chakra is located at the top of the head. The element is thought. So here we're thinking, open-mindedness, expanded thinking, ideas, questioning, when you're questioning the status quo, essentially, not just going along with what we're told in society is right. So questioning the belief systems that we were given and brought up with as well. So it's connected to the pituitary glands, the cerebral cortex and central nervous system. Its developmental stage, so this is kind of early adulthood and beyond, really. It's all about learning, personal growth, asking questions, thinking outside of the box, what we're taught, supporting expanded ways of thinking and just growing our conscious awareness and expanding into that higher consciousness. Seeing ourselves as more of that collective, that we're all as one, that we're all connected and that we're never alone, and developing that connection to our higher self, that trust, and that to the divine source or God or however you define that greater power, I suppose. So that's kind of an overview of the chakras. I hope that's kind of helpful in understanding, when they develop and all the kind of areas of life that they're linked to, and how we can develop in our lives, how we become the way that we are. You can kind of go back and kind of reflect on some things that have happened to you in childhood that maybe have impacted the way that you are now, some of the patterns and beliefs and things that you've taken on, some of the sabotaging behaviours. And also, as parents, just to bring awareness to, if you've got young children, it's really good to have some awareness around how you can help your kids as well with that kind of knowledge from that point about the different developmental stages and where they need to grow, without being too, restricted as well in certain areas. So, hang on, there we go. So path of liberation. So we've got two pathways I was mentioning. I work very much with the foundations of this path of liberation. I'm just going to have a drink. Actually, I'll just check the chat box because it looks like something's in there. Oh, cool. Okay, yes, I didn't see them pop up at the time, but yes, due birth to release stress hormone. Brilliant. Yeah, and all of us do, we can shift and release energy in many different ways. Sometimes just like the leaking, it's not even crying, but like leaking, when our eyes are leaking, that's a energy release, or yawning can be, or Yeah, burping, yeah, like there's lots of different ways. So interesting. Thank you. You're welcome, Robin. I'm glad you're finding it interesting and fascinating. It makes a lot of sense from Claire. Thank you, Claire. Good that it makes sense. Thanks for the feedback. Right, okay, I'm just gonna close that again. Where did it pop up? I can't even see where it was. Anyway, so yeah, path of liberation. What was I going to say? Yeah, so basically each of these 7 chakras, having gone through them, every single one of them is interconnected. So if one is blocked, it's going to impact the whole chakra system. It's going to impact our whole being, and our life as a result is less free and less joyful than it could be. So, you know, what we're aiming for is free-flowing chakras and energy that empowers us. And, you know, we're always going to experience things that are going to create imbalances. Our energy system's never going to look the same at any given time. But if we learn how to manage that energy and how to shift and release energy and be able to work with our emotions and feelings as they come up and let them out instead of holding and suppressing them, then we've got a much better chance of you know, keeping our energy flowing and being in that beautiful state of flow and alignment, which is where we want to be, feeling free. And that, you know, that means letting go of all of our past human experiences that have kind of defined and shaped the way that we are. We're wanting to kind of peel those layers off, get rid of all the stuff that doesn't serve us anymore. It's about, you know, becoming aware of our patterns initially and then being able to go, okay, this isn't serving anymore, I'm going to let go of it. And realizing where we hold that in our energy system and then kind of working through it and letting it go. So, yeah, so the strength as well, the strength of the upper chakras, so the throat, the third eye, and the crown is very much dependent on the strength of the lower chakras. So this is why I want to talk first about the path of liberation, because you know, there's no point just working with the upper chakras if we're holding a lot of stuff in the lower chakras. And this is, you know, if we divide them into upper and lower halves, you know, we've got the heart chakra I mentioned, which bridges the physical and the spiritual realm. And we can begin to see that the lower chakras represent the lower levels of human consciousness. And they are more concerned with the physical, emotional, and mental aspects of our lives, whereas the upper chakras are more spiritual in nature, and these are, you know, our sources of self-expression, inspiration, and enlightenment. The wounds, traumas, pain, and negative experiences of our early lives, our childhood, they tend to occur at the level of the lower chakras, and these can then block and misdirect our energy, which impacts our personal power. So the lower chakras are very much the foundations and the building blocks upon which the higher chakras sit. And they are responsible for how safe and worthy we feel to take up space in this world, and how we are able to express our authentic selves. So often people, you know, will, without even realizing that they're doing it, because they don't even realize necessarily they're working with the chakras anyway, will ignore the foundations, so especially the base chakra, and just go straight up to the top. You know, the upper chakras of the mindset and positive affirmations and enlightenment. You know, so we might go out and set sizable goals and read personal growth books and trying to think big and stay positive. You know, this is way more fun than dealing with and airing the dirty laundry that we hold. You know, it's lurking down below in our lower chakras, in our subconscious. And of course, we're going to want to go straight there and, you know, manifest and, you know, become positive thinkers and all of that. But if we go straight to the top without doing the foundational work, without doing the groundwork, then we're just going to be on shaky ground. And our foundations can just come crashing down. We need to really get strong in our foundations. You know, the root, I've talked about the root cause and coming back to energy, but the root of our problems begin in that root chakra, in the base chakra. So to create new, empowering and long-lasting change, we need to be present and grounded in a strong foundation of resiliency and self-belief, which is created at the level of the base chakra. So we need to learn to embrace all parts of ourselves, and that's the first love yourself part, coming back to healing our relationship with ourselves and creating that strong foundation, accepting ourselves fully, instead of just pretending that those parts of ourselves that we've hidden and are lurking in the shadow just don't exist at all. It's about bringing them up to the light and healing them so that then we can move forward. So this is, the path of liberation. So it begins at the base chakra and flows upwards. And it involves, so this is all about complicated emotions, limiting belief systems and patterns of behavior held in our lower chakras on a subconscious level. So in order to, in order to find our freedom, we need to heal the roots of complicated emotions such as fear, guilt, and shame, where we hold them in our lower chakras. And the lower chakras, they harbor long forgotten memories and experiences that shaped us as children. We hold on to and store all of our past experiences in the body on a subconscious level. Healing these lower chakras will help us to access our personal power and remember who we truly are and liberate us from the shackles of the past. And as we heal and free ourselves from past hurts and remember the truth of who we are, we can begin to feel lighter, more joyful and free. And so really, that image is everything, isn't it? It's like we're feeling light and free. It's like we're coming up out of those more heavier, denser energies, and we're feeling that lightness. And then, oh, hang on, before we move on, there's a Fleur. I can't see the slide for inner transformation. Have you got, can you see, actually I can't see you, Fleur. Can you see can everyone see the slide for the path of liberation? Yeah, so that's the one we've got at the moment, Fleur. You should be on the path of liberation. We're starting at the base chakra and clearing our energy from the base up to the crown. Hopefully that makes sense. Just, comment again if not. Right, where we go next? So now we're moving on to, hang on, we're not, where's my thingy? The path of manifestation. Hang on, I've got a chat message. It's not showing up on your screen. I don't know why. I'm not sure, Fleur. If anyone might have an idea as to why Fleur can't see her slide on her screen, if anyone knows, could they maybe suggest something? Because I'm not sure why that would be. Thank you, guys. Right, so I'll continue on in the meantime. Maybe just have a play around, Fleur, with the, I don't know if have you pressed anything that's taken you out of the main screen, because, yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll keep going. So the path of hang on. Check the view setting from Lara. Try that, Fleur. Thanks, Lara. So the path of manifestation. So this is the exciting stuff. This is where we want to go. But obviously we've got to start with the foundations first. But once we've cleared and opened up and strengthened our chakras from the ground up, what we can then do is we can manifest more easily. And I'm going to explain that, because the path of manifestation actually starts at the top. It starts at the crown chakra. And the whole concept is like that we have an idea or we have a vision that we get excited about, and then we turn it into a reality. And so how many of you guys, you know, like you have these grand visions and ideas and then nothing happens, or you get distracted by something else and it just doesn't ever happen? You know, thoughts get scattered, or, you know, whatever it is, or we get to a point where we're like, oh, I can't possibly do that. I'm not good enough to do that. Or, you know, there's blockages on the way down that stop us from achieving what we desire. And that's because we haven't cleared our foundational stuff first. So what happens with manifesting is we start at the crown, we work our way down. So what we do is we start at the crown chakra here. You know, this is you know, the element of thought. This is where we do all our thinking stuff. So we have this beautiful idea arises, and then we bring it down to the third eye, which is where we create a vision for this idea, and we use our imagination to grow this idea, and we start to really see it. And then we bring it down to the level of the throat chakra when we start to communicate and talk about this idea. So rather than just holding this idea, you know, holding it into ourselves, we start to talk about it to others. And that's bringing that energy out, and it's bringing it down. You know, we're starting the process of bringing it down to manifestation when we start to talk about it and communicate about it. And then it comes down to the level of the heart chakra, where we begin to really feel, you know, like this is what it would feel like to have this idea come true, and how we feel, what it would be like if it was real. And we become quite attached to it. And then we bring it down to the energy of the solar plexus chakra, where we begin to take action. And this is the more practical stuff, where we start to take the action to bring it into fruition. And then from there, we move down to the sacral chakra, which is our creative energy. And we begin to really create something tangible from this idea. And then it comes right down to the base chakra, where this is where we actually physically birth and manifest this idea from concept into reality, and it becomes real. So I hope that gives you an idea of how the manifesting process works. And we need all of our energy centers to be open and to be free first, to be able to bring stuff down into reality. So struggling to manifest our dreams is a sign that lower chakra energy is blocked, because more of the practical work involved in making dreams come true happens in the lower chakras when we begin to act on making them real. So yeah, releasing blocked energy in the lower chakras is necessary first. When our base chakra is blocked, our dreams and wishes just float around, like they just float around in the ether with zero gravity, and they're unable to gain traction. So clearing and healing the base chakra first allows us to build strong foundations to transform what stops us from boldly and confidently making our dreams happen. We need to first clear the false beliefs and fears that have been wired into our subconscious and our nervous system since birth, as they will just continue to run the show. And this happens primarily at the level of the base chakra and also the solar plexus chakra, because a lot of the limiting beliefs that we hold are in our ego identity, which is at the level of the solar plexus as well. Right, for the sake of the rest of this masterclass, because obviously I don't want to, you know, it to go on for too long, but do you know what I just realised I forgot to do as well? I forgot to take you through the sensing exercise. We can do that anyway after, if you're still here at the end. But that's okay. So what was I saying? Yeah, so for the sake of the rest of this, I'm not going to go through every single one of the chakras in detail. I'm just going to focus on the base chakra. Because, as I mentioned, the root cause of all of our issues lie, you know, primarily here anyway, and can be traced back to here. And then, you know, my hope is then that it's going to give you this good base foundational understanding of the chakra system and inspire you to then, you know, explore that further, starting that healing process from the base chakra. So moving on to, I don't know why my clicker's not working. Hang on, we'll move on to the next one. So here, so we're going to go to the base chakra, and these are like basic characteristics of the base chakra. I've got a picture of a tree because this is very much, it's the element of earth. It's, you can see all those beautiful, big, strong roots. And this is where, a lot of this, is about connecting to nature, connecting to earth. A lot of our, how we feel calm, supported and grounded comes from that nature connection as well. And we can bring that into our lives to really strengthen and support the base chakra. So that's kind of why we've got that picture there. So it's the element of earth. It's located at the base of the spine, at the perineum, and it represents the body's first level of consciousness. So that's our awareness of ourselves as physical beings with a focus on safety and survival, which develops at that infancy age of womb, primarily womb to 12 months-ish. It's connected to the nervous system and the physical body. The nervous system controls the physiological survival response, which is also known as fight, flight, or freeze. And as many of you will be aware, we live far too often in that we're activating that stress response way too often these days and drip feeding ourselves fear constantly and stress. So. Who did a heart? Where did that appear from? My goodness me, somebody's a bit clever. I didn't do that. I'm really confused now. Hang on, I've got some comments. I'll just, okay, this is all to do with check the view sitting, just makes the bit, okay, constantly. Okay, so D, you're talking about the, the manifesting side of things, starting things and then something else catches your eye and moving on. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's it. And get unblocking those lower chakras, my love. And then, okay, and here we're looking at the screens and then, oh, sorry, Fleur, that you can't see the screen. I still don't know who's put a heart on my screen, but that's all right. Can everyone else see the heart? Yeah. Oh, Simone. Oh, well, there you go. That's, I didn't even know you could do that. So well done. It's amazing. I could learn a thing or two from you. So, okay. And it's a red heart as well. Red base chakra, love. So, okay, I've forgotten where I am. I've got distracted. We've gone through, we've basically gone through all of this, haven't we? I'll move on to the next slide. So we're looking at all this safety support, how our needs were met at that lower level to how safe and supported we feel in life. Fleur, don't worry about it because I am actually, I'm talking through what's on the slides anyway as we go along. So it's just that you haven't got that visual. Oh, hang on, there's a chat. I'm on an iPad, could be why. Maybe, I'm not sure, love. I don't know. But yes, you're hearing it all, which is the main thing, I suppose. Okay, so now we're on to early base chakra programming. So our early base chakra programming, which happens at that, 6 to womb to 12 months-ish stage of our life. Now, this affects the following. It affects whether our nervous system gets wired to feel generally safe or anxious. This is really important because how we experience, how often we feel stressed and how often our stress response is alerted also has to do with how our nervous system is wired, the base set points. All of our nervous systems are wired at different levels. So if we didn't feel that safety and support in at the stage that the base chakra was developing, then we're going to be more easily triggered into that stress response, and we're going to feel more fearful and more anxious and less safe in the world and less safe in our bodies and less supported. So we just being aware of that is really important to know. And you can do things to help work with calm, pacify the nervous system. It's super important to do that as a foundational level, to really work with the nervous system and start to feel safe in your body and safe in this world, and bring yourself present into the body. So, you know, whether it's also how we experience our basic worthiness and right to be who we are. So if we had a strong connection to our caregivers in you know, as babies, and we felt that you know, if our needs and all of that were met, we would have felt like worthy of being here, and that we had a basic right to be here, and that our needs were met. And it also impacts how we can ask for help from others as well, reach out and ask. If we're given that support and safety, we're more easily as adults able to then reach out for support and help when we need it, because we feel that we have a right to ask for that support. We're worthy of it. Whereas if we didn't get those needs met, we're more likely to go through life not asking, shying away, hiding away, and not asking for help because we don't feel that we deserve the help or we're not worthy of it. So it's about our basic worthiness, our right to be here in our physical bodies in this world, and our right to take up space. So it's also how we feel about, notice and take care of our physical body's needs. Because it's very much connected to our physical body, how confident, comfortable we feel in our own skin, I guess, and how we feel about our bodies, and whether we easily get overstimulated and stressed out, and how sensitive we are to our environment as well. How much stress and anxiety we carry daily as we go about life. So I'll just have another sip. Meeting my needs for water and hydration. So when the base chakra is strong and balanced, we feel grounded and on solid ground. Everything we do and are feels supported. We feel comfortable in our own skin, and generally we feel safe, worthy and self-empowered. We're able to manage our physical resources. This is an important one as well. Just see how you feel into this one. So it's to do with managing physical resources, opportunities and wealth, and rising up to meet challenges with resiliency. Do you shy away from looking at your bank account and dealing with finances, bills, all of that sort of stuff? You know, do you I find it really interesting, because this is totally to do with the base chakra. How our home environment is as well, how we treat our home environment, and how you know, a lot of clutter around us and mess is a sign as well of kind of busyness, and then, you know, like it kind of reflects our internal as well, if that makes sense. So if we've got, you know, like nice, beautiful, clean home environments, it's part of that, you know, having that that support around us and just feeling uncluttered and focused and clear. It all shows up in our home environment, in our finances and all of that kind of thing too. How we see the world around us, how we see the world around us develops as we absorb the beliefs and behaviours of our family and caregivers. So we take on all of their, you know, like the belief systems that are passed on to us. And if our basic needs were not met, if our mum was stressed, for example, whilst we're developing in the womb, any of those kinds of things, then our foundations would be shaky very much from the start, would be laid on a base of fear, and our system, as I mentioned, wired for safety and survival. And then we begin to go through life feeling unsafe and unvalued. We're more prone to anxiety. We feel much more comfortable going unnoticed and being invisible. Our deep-rooted beliefs are that we're not important enough to be noticed, to be kept safe, reassured and soothed. Now, if we experienced abuse in childhood, then the nervous system is on high alert and always bracing for danger. Deep-seated unworthiness can also, it can make us avoid risk, playing it really safe. Or on the other hand, we can become overachievers, working really, really hard to prove that we're good enough, while always at the same time doubting our worth. We find that we're not always grounded or fully present in our bodies. So there can be a tendency to zone out or dissociate from the body, holding excess energy up in the mind in the form of worrying, anxiety, and scattered overthinking as well. So just feeling into whether any of those, resonate for you, if you notice anything with that. I'm just going to check the chat box again. Shanae had to sign off. Okay, you're probably gone by now. And Cherie as well had to go. So if you haven't gone yet, bye-bye. Yeah, thanks for coming. And Robin, yes, sounds like me. Yeah, okay. So that's just an awareness of, what's going on at that foundational level. And it's just, no judgment or worrying about it, whatever. It's just, sometimes it is what it is. It's good to bring awareness to it, because then you can choose to do something about it if you wish. It's great to have that awareness. Okay, so now, where have we got to? Right, next slide. Signs of a weak-based chakra. So here we go. So difficulty taking action. These are just a list of things that you can be aware of. So yeah, difficulty taking action, scattered thoughts, anxious energy from mild to full-blown panic attacks, rejection of or disappointment in your physical body, difficulty being aware of your body's signal of stress, hunger, and exhaustion, dissociating from your body and zoning out, dreaming of big goals that never manifest, difficulty creating the time or habit for nutrition and self-care, and difficulty dealing with concrete tasks such as money management, organization, or finishing projects. So these are just some of the signs that you're on kind of weak foundation. I don't know, it sounds bad, doesn't it? Weak foundations, but yeah, that you could use some love in the base chakra and some bringing some grounding, calming, strengthening energy and opening and strengthening that chakra. So yeah, so on the other hand, so if you are lovingly held and soothed as a baby with basic needs met, it teaches the nervous system to be calm. How our family or our caregiver, our caregivers, our tribe's treatment of us, how they treated us and how they perceived threat and danger encodes how we see and feel about ourselves and the world around us. So whether we see the world as safe or whether we have trouble trusting. And I find this really interesting, and it's probably slightly on a tangent, so I won't go too far into it, but I find it really interesting how the conspiracy theorists amongst us, it's like that general mistrust of the world and looking for that, like things not true, like it's not that I don't feel safe in the world. And this, again, I see it as well as opening up our perception and not agreeing with what we're being told. But I do wonder if there's an element of that, having that distrust in the world around us that can lead us to go down, these kind of like rabbit holes and stuff like that. I find that quite an interesting thing. Anyway, just a thought. And then, where did I get to? Oh yeah, so when our needs are lovingly met, we get the message that we are important and worthy of being cared for, that we belong and have a right to be here. We learn that we have a right to be safe and supported no matter what. And when we grow into adults, we easily ask for help when we need it. There's an intrinsic sense of self-worth. Our earliest experiences of safety and survival form the foundational set point of how calm or anxious we feel in the body as a way of being. And these foundations impact every other chakra and everything that we do. So the foundational set point of the nervous system, as mentioned, occurs when the base chakra is developing, often leading us to be on high alert in adulthood. Now, this I find really fascinating. So the nervous system doesn't know the difference between true or false. It doesn't know the difference between the past or the present. So there's no rationalizing with the logical mind. It only knows the charge of past experiences. So the emotional charge of past experiences that were shocking, painful, or dangerous. And it alerts us when anything similar is happening again. That's its job, is to keep us safe and protect us. It's not really relevant a lot of the time in today's society because we're constantly getting, threats and alerts when we don't really need them. There's a lot of stuff that we don't need to be, on high alert for. But because we're kind of looking through the lens of our past, and our nervous system is constantly alerting us when something of perceived danger is happening, we end up at the mercy of our nervous system. And we might not have any conscious memory of the beliefs and the experiences that are driving these automatic reactions, but they're deeply embedded in our nervous system at a cellular level. And so every single time that our nervous system perceives a threat in the form of an associated trigger to a past event or experience, it will react with a physiological stress response, which is often not relevant or helpful to the present situation. So we're literally seeing things through the lens of our past. So, has anyone else experienced that? Like when you have like a really strong physiological reaction and you get triggered and you respond in a way that then you feel guilty about, because it's like, oh my gosh, like that was totally a massive overreaction. And that's just our nervous system kicking in to protect us from this perceived danger. And it's totally responding from a past experience. So in order to, stop these patterns from happening over and over again, and to free ourselves from our past experiences and conditioning, we need to begin by healing and rebuilding the base chakra, which starts with finding the source of these false fears and beliefs and letting them go. So now I like to do this like using a powerful combination of mindfulness and EFT tapping. I find this really powerful. I'm just going to quickly check the chat box. Okay, Michelle's had to go. And sure, I'm not sure what Simone said there. Shoring up needed. Shoring up needed. I'm not too sure. Okay, and Michelle's gone. All right. Okay, so right, moving on. Mindfulness and EFT tapping. This is what I want to talk to you about now. So I'm just going to go to this. So yeah, basically with mindfulness is a really powerful tool that helps us to bring awareness, conscious awareness to our negative thoughts, patterns and behaviors, our self-sabotaging behavior, limiting beliefs. And what that does is when we bring all of that to conscious awareness and we shine a light on it, we are empowered to choose a new way. So mindfulness is really important. And then EFT tapping, which I know a couple of you have experienced with me, and perhaps others of you have experienced tapping as well. But tapping is it's a clinically proven and powerful fear transformation tool that enables us to calm and pacify the nervous system and clear triggers and associations linked to past events and experiences so that we can create and encode new, more empowering neural pathways instead, which are in alignment with who we truly are. Now, this is what I was saying to you before about clearing from the foundations. EFT tapping is really highly effective at doing this because it works directly with the nervous system on a subconscious level to clear all of that. So it's really, really effective. And so it's a clinically proven mind-body technique that effectively reduces anxiety and the stress response, even within minutes of use as well. It's often used therapeutically to treat PTSD. It's been proven to be safe and very effective for self-use because of its calming effects on the nervous system. And this is what I'm excited to talk to you about now, is because you can use it for self-use. It's something that you can learn to do for yourself, and it's not something that you need to go to go and see somebody else for once you've learned how to do it, unless there's something that's deeply ingrained and that's hard to work through yourself, in which case it's good to go and see a practitioner to help guide through it. But you can just use tapping like every day, and it really does help to clear all of that stuff from the ground up. And so what I'd like to offer today and talk to you about, and I'm really excited about this because it's a new thing that I'm offering, and it's an 8-week Tap Your Way to Freedom series, which is basically, it's an 8-week experience with me to dive more deeply into both the chakra system and also learning tapping as a powerful tool to heal past wounds, clear the blockages, and shift and release trapped energy in your chakras. There's so many ways that you can start to clear and shift energy and blockages in the chakras. But yeah, as I was saying, like, I find tapping particularly effective as it works with the nervous system directly in the subconscious mind, where we find the roots and issues of our issues and blockages. And so it serves to shift and release stuck energy, especially with a targeted approach of psychological inquiry as well. So during these 8 weeks, I'll teach you how to tap, and then we start at that foundational level of the base chakra, working through a chakra per week, using mindfulness, self-inquiry techniques to uncover blockages, and using tapping scripts to clear and release the subconscious patterning and help to rewire the nervous system and your subconscious. So in that sense as well, like tapping like regularly over 8 weeks is going to help to create a new habit as well. So rather than just learning tapping and then going, oh yeah, that could be a useful tool, and then forgetting all about it and not using it in the moment, by doing the tapping process and the idea will be to encourage and invite you to tap every day so that it really starts to become ingrained as a habit, and then you can use it as a go-to tool because it won't feel like something you have to remember. It'll just become something that's like that is a tool that you can just draw upon in the moment because you're using it so regularly. So a key process, key process with tapping to unblock the chakra energy is to acknowledge your feelings and emotions, allow and accept them with compassion, and then take action by moving the stuck energy out of the body using the tapping technique. So what we'll do as we're tapping away and clearing these beliefs and patterns is to start to begin to experience more joy, more lightness, more freedom and inner peace. And then once you've liberated yourselves from these blockages, then you can start manifesting to your heart's content. And that's when you can start to go to that the more exciting, woohoo, I'm going to start like working on my dreams and goals. So anyway, I'll send you all, I'll just, you've got the kind of some of the info on here. I mean, I'm offering it. This is the first time I'm doing this 8-week series. So I'm doing it at a special offer price of $111. I think that works out at just under $14 a session. So it's I see it as being really good value. And I'm just offering, like if you decide that you'd like to do it and you sign up within the next 24 hours, then, I put here, do you know what? I created this and then I changed my mind. Something far more exciting. I was going to go into a draw to win a private inner transformation mentoring session with me. So there you go. Either or now. Okay. And I shall, there'll be like I'm just going to come back into it. I'm going to stop checking my screen. So yes, hey everyone who's still here. I can see you all now. So basically, yeah, with this tapping series, I'm really excited about it. I'm going to have like a private Facebook group as well, which will hold that container for the 8 weeks. So there'll be like live Zoom calls. It'll be on a Monday evening. If you can't make any of the sessions, then there'll be like a recorded version of it in the Facebook group, and also that will be a space to ask any questions, ask for guidance and support, to also support one another within a community. So if anything comes up each week, because there'll be things, you know, as you're sitting in the energy of a particular chakra, you might find things come up to the surface for processing and letting go of, and being able to communicate that in a safe, sacred container is going to be useful as well, to be able to share how you're going with the tapping, what you've noticed, and all of that. So kind of creating that community as well. So, so that's really, I think that's everything I wanted to say about that. And I just want to check in with you guys and see, you know, has that been useful? Have you, oh, hang on. Is this, Lara has sent a message. Is this live or pre-recorded? Oh, you mean this particular, this? Hey? I like your background, by the way. I think sounds great. You've answered it. I've answered it. Okay. Cool. So yes. So anyone got any questions? You can feel free to unmute yourselves now, one at a time. Don't all go at once. I might feel bombarded. But yeah, if you've got any burning questions, or you'd like to say anything, or you're interested and you want me to write down your name to send you the details of this 8-week series, or you've got any questions about that, now's your time. Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to know, will you do a second one?
A second?
Second one of the tapping, because I've got 2 courses I've already signed up for over that period.
Have you? Are you somebody that signs up to heaps and heaps of courses? Do you do them?
No, never done it before in my life, so.
Oh no, no. I mean, as in, do you sign up to courses and in general, and then do you follow through with the courses?
I don't normally sign up for courses.
Ah, okay, all right. I was going to say, because that can be a sign as well. It's like we're signing up to all these different things and then we don't do them. But yeah, no, if you feel like you've taken on a couple of things at the moment and it would be too much to do this, then my plan at this stage, as I say, it's my first one. So I envisage continuing on and doing another one. Yeah, I'd like to make this a thing. I feel it's an idea and a vision that I'm now manifesting. So I feel it, I channeled this, and I feel that tapping and the chakras go beautifully hand in hand. I'm actually doing my level 3 tapping certification at the moment, which is like, I'm finding it, I'm really, really inspired, and I'm going to bring all of that. There's going to be like workbooks and everything in the week by week in the tapping series as well. So yeah, this is the first time I'm creating it from scratch. I feel really confident about the process, but I will obviously gauge feedback of those that join me for it this round, and you know, see how it goes, and then the idea is I'll carry it on. Yeah, that's probably a really long-winded way of saying, yeah, the plan is to do another one, yeah, in a couple of months' time. Yeah. Anybody else like to? Norma, hang on. Oh, I think I missed a chat. Oh, hang on, let me just see. Hang on, there's a few of you. How do I get back up there? Okay, great. Dee, you're interested. Are you still there, Dee? Oh, yeah. Okay, lovely. And Fleur's already signed up. Yay to Fleur. And that was really useful. Thank you, Laura from Norma. Thanks. Thank you, Norma. I don't know why I can't get Lara, keen on the tapping series, yay! Looking forward to having you. And Norma did tapping many years ago, sounds different now. We'll consider it. Laura, thanks, Hates. Thanks, Norma. Yeah, depends, because this one is emotional freedom technique tapping. And there is a tapping, there was another form. So this particular version works with the mindfulness aspect as well. I think there is a different, it's very much, it draws on the tapping that was the original tapping, which was combining the Eastern medicine, you know, the Eastern acupressure points, combining that energy medicine with modern psychology, Western modern psychology. So tapping combines those things, which this is, but it very much draws on the mindfulness aspect as well. So I don't know if it would be comparable to what you did before. I don't know. Yeah, you'd have to come to a tapping workshop or something and see, or actually, or if you want to do this, it's starting end of this month, but yeah. Have a think about it. Anybody else got anything to? Yeah, it says 2 more messages. Claire, thank you, Laura. That was interesting. Keen to know more about the work you do for Path to Liberation. Awesome. I have to jump off now. Have a lovely day, everyone. I think you might have gone already, yes. And thanks, Laura, for the info. You're welcome, Fleur. Okay, see ya. Okay, you've got a little bit of work to do, Lara. You're welcome. And Make on Sunday, yay! It's good. Oh, that's going to be brilliant. I can't wait. So who's coming to that? Yeah, Norma, you're coming, aren't you? Yes, excellent. And Ingrid, yay. So yeah, you might see a few of your fellow Zoom people there. Hopefully you can make it, that'd be great. Cool. And have to go. Thanks so much, Laura, from Ingrid. You've got my details, interested in tapping series, yay. Mwah. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Simone. And yeah, to you as well, Robin. I think Robin's already gone, had to head off, and it's just Norma left. Actually, I'll stop recording. How do I stop recording? Hold on, I'll just stop the recording. Pause.